which was down at Fox 29. This could not have been better timed, and for what the rest of the day is going to be like, thank you very, very much. I needed that, because it's going to be one of those days. Seriously, Judge Hughes and Mike Kozlov, thank you both for your great leadership. The entire board of the American Red Cross of Southeastern Pennsylvania, my very good friend, Walt DeLessio, Nick DeBenedictis was here last year for you, I was here the year before, and Bill Sauter, thank you very, very much. Nick was 2010, Bill was 2009. Dan Hilferty, our great, great CEO of Blue Cross, and Bill Sasso, my very, very good friend, Linda Zanio, thank you, especially for those comments and the great work you do at Star Group. Dennis O'Brien, wonderful president and CEO at PICO, and yeah, not bad for a prep guy. Thank you, Dennis. And Lisa, the only way I could really accept this award, which is tremendously humbling, and when you look at the long list of those who have received it over the past couple decades, I can only really kind of take half of the award. The tremendous amount of inspiration I get, and when Judge Hughes and others talk about being at those scenes and those sites, Fire Commissioner Ayers knows that, you know, when we get that call, we respond. And sometimes, you know, they're kind of in the middle of the day, and quite honestly, sometimes they're in the middle of the night. And when that phone rings for any number of tragedies, I mean, I get up. But, you know, my partner in all this really has to try to keep all the rest of the life together. I couldn't do what I do but for Lisa Nutter. So it was just a couple other folks that I'd like to recognize, and one of whom may be changing capacities, but will always be a big, big part of our team, and he was on the video as well. And on the government side, he and a number of others, a few other folks on the team here, but you know, we all know him, the chief. My chief of staff, Clay Armbruster, when I'm running around and somebody's got to keep those 20-some-odd thousand folks together, and when I'm running around doing whatever it is that I'm doing, and some days I know you wonder what in the world is he doing. The chief is back at the shop, making sure that things are straight. And I want to ask you one more time to please recognize a great Philadelphian, a great citizen, and our chief of staff, Clay Armbruster. Given some of my activities, of course, sitting close by is our city solicitor, always worried that I might do something or get myself in trouble or end up down the courthouse. So, Shelley Smith, thank you very much for being here, for your service. And she thinks I don't know that she's here, but on the other side of the room, keeping everything that moves is under her jurisdiction and more, is Deputy Mayor for Transportation and Utilities, Rhina Cutler. Rhina, thank you very, very much. One last component of my life, which is kind of the political side. She's seated next to my board chairman, Steve Jones, who's over at Elliott Lewis. Steve, thank you very, very much. And next to him is Cindy Bass, Democratic nominee in the 8th Council District, and hopefully soon to be a member of our City Council. Please recognize Cindy Bass. So, thank you again for the honor and for the invite. I know I was here last year, but I did not realize that there were so many other components to this, and I'm really still kind of shaken by the video. The things that people said were tremendously kind. I don't think a great deal about the day-to-day things that we do. Hello, Clarina Tolson. How are you? I didn't see you there. Please recognize our Streets Commissioner, Clarina Tolson. moving that snow out there. Public service, I mean, it's just what I do. There is something within me that, I had to respond to this call a bunch of years ago. I love what I do. I love this city. I'm born, raised, educated, created all my trouble here. And it has given me so much. So the things that people said, just sit back and think about them. They're quite laudatory and make me feel very, very good. I don't really think a great deal about what we do as being so special. I mean, if there's a big fire somewhere, with the Windermere fire a couple months back, and hundreds of people displaced, I mean, my natural instinct, I go. And that's what I do. It's what I'm supposed to do, not just as mayor, but as a Philadelphian. And, what are big water main breaks and floods and all kinds of things that happen here in the city require any one of us to respond. We saw just the other day, that we suffered a loss of one of our police officers. He was coming home from work. His shift had ended. He was literally driving home. He lives in the Roxborough section of Kelly Drive, and had a heart attack, and his car plunged into the river. An off-duty police officer dived in the water. And you would kind of expect that from an off-duty police officer. But what you wouldn't normally expect is a medical school student who happened to be a rower, was on his bike and saw what happened. And he dived in as well. And then another citizen dived in. And the police officer was strapped in the vehicle in his seatbelt, and he could not get it off, and one of the other folks had a knife, and they finally cut it off. Unfortunately, the officer died. The one citizen with the knife, we don't even know who that was. I mean, he literally just left the scene, and the other citizen cut his foot up pretty badly, and I had a chance to talk to him. And he just said, well, I was there. It's just what people do. And we unfortunately lost the officer. His wife, we were at the hospital, and unfortunately I've had too many of these experiences where officers pass, something happens to one of our public employees, and we just watch people literally fall apart in the hospital. But she was very focused on wanting to see the off-duty officer who had gone in the water and the citizen. I mean, that's really what was on her mind at that moment, because she understood that her husband had died. I care about people, and you know that there's a big fight going on right now in the city. I mean, who would we be if we weren't fighting about something? It's either in the water, the DNA, or something. I mean, Philadelphia is the kind of place where if the Philadelphia Eagles were to win the Super Bowl, someone would say, but they did beat the point spread. It's just who we are. And so there's this big debate about school funding. Big deficit, who's responsible, and people pointing fingers, and what are you going to do? So, I run the city, I don't run the schools. But I pick up those children's parents' trash. I plow the snow. We provide police officers. They're our children. They're my children. They're my children. And so, with the jurisdiction issues, the governance issues, they ultimately really don't matter. What matters is that children have full-day kindergarten. What matters is that they can get to and from school safely. What matters is that they have a decent student-teacher ratio, class size. What matters is that accelerated schools that are actually bringing young people who have aged out or dropped out or left and now returning and are graduating at much higher rates. That's what matters. And so whether it's my direct responsibility or not, I'm going to take on that challenge. Because I think that a smart city is a safe city. I think a smarter city is a better city. I think a smart city is a city that's growing, that's thriving. For the first time in 60 years, our population has grown. For the first time in 60 years. We're just not some small sleepy town somewhere anymore, much to the great chagrin of many, many Philadelphians. A great day for a Philadelphian is a day when apparently in their minds no one is thinking about us. No one is talking about us. Well, that just doesn't exist anymore. We're one of the largest convention centers in the United States of America and one of the best, and our president is here, Amita Young. We're the 5th largest city in America, 5th. No more dispute, no more mystery, no more wonder. We are number 5. That's a great place to be. Port, airport, 2 rivers, thriving downtown, a waterfront that is growing. Every possible asset that you could imagine or want. Great quality of life. New York as a suburb. This is a happening place. The one thing we have to do, the one thing we have to do, the one thing we have to do is invest in education. That really is the future. We know that education and medicine support 30% of the jobs here in this city. We have 101 colleges and universities in the tri-state area. No disrespect to Boston, we actually have more schools than you do. Just did a better job at marketing. We have to close the education gap, because when we do that, we'll have a safer city. People who are working don't have time to be involved in all kinds of crazy negative activity. Employers are looking for a skilled workforce. They want to be where the people are. So this is a fight worth fighting. It's our fight. It's our collective fight. Because if we don't invest in our children, I can tell you, unfortunately, what's going to happen. If a child is not reading at grade level by 3rd or 4th grade, that's a child who will struggle through middle school, more than likely drop out of high school, and unfortunately, will end up with the DA, the police commissioner, and ultimately, prisons commissioner Jarrell. It costs us $30,000 a year to keep someone in prison. Why wouldn't we invest in kindergarten? Are you serious? Really? Really? I spent the bulk of my political career lowering taxes. The members of the Chamber of Commerce are here. We've had a wonderful partnership and relationship. Do you think I wanted to do the things that I've done over the past couple of years? No. But I'm in a profession that I don't get to do what I want to do every day. I do what I have to do on behalf of the citizens and children of this city. That's why this city, unlike virtually any other, in the United States of America, has weathered this economic storm. And we did things in a very different way than virtually anyone else. We did it at the same time that we were lowering crime, increasing the graduation rate, securing new jobs in the city, and running the place with integrity, transparency, and openness. We actually are trying to make you proud of our city government. We cut out the nonsense, and we did all of that. Having not laid off one police officer, not one firefighter, not one sanitation worker, not one social worker. Not one. Yet we have 1,600 fewer employees on the payroll today than we had 2 years ago. We've managed our way through, and as a result of that, in partnership with our Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the General Assembly, our tax revenues for the city are stable. Every one of them. Coming in where planned or a little ahead. Our great challenge now is dealing with cuts from the Commonwealth, cuts from the federal government, and what are we going to do about our partner down the street, the school district. Well, I may not be directly in charge, but I'm going to take some responsibility. And I challenge each and every one of us here today to take responsibility. That's what service is about. That's what public service is about. And it's also what the Red Cross does every day. They don't ask folks where you came from, how did this happen, what's your registration, how long are you going to be here. When I get on the scene, I look for 3 people. Police, fire, and the American Red Cross. Because I know that the service is going to be provided by our police and fire, they'll do what they do. And I know the people are going to be taken care of by the American Red Cross. So yes, we are partners in this work. And I will continue to be out there morning, noon, and night to serve the citizens of this city. I don't have a direct role. I don't have a red outfit. I couldn't find a blanket if my life depended on it. But I'll make sure you get one. I'll make sure that we know who everyone is out here and where you're going. That's my job. It's a coordinated role. But we have great partners, and we have a great city. And we need to get a little more used to being in the spotlight. Actually, people across the country and around the world are paying attention right now to what's going on in Philadelphia. It may be stunning to some, but people actually do call us and say, how did you guys do that? How did you become the clean tech hub of the United States of America? Why are you so focused on sustainability? What is that all about? That's about jobs. You wonder why I talk about recycling so much? Not because I'm some big environmentalist. It's about money. It's about jobs. It's about partnership. This city is growing and thriving, notwithstanding what you might either read in a newspaper, hear on the radio, or see on TV. There are actually positive things happening in Philadelphia. And the American Red Cross is a big part of that story. And so I could not be more excited for our new CEO. We may have to do a new video, update the one from 30 years ago. You can count on the city of Philadelphia to be a great friend and a great partner in this work. And let me just say, seriously now, given the events of the rest of the day, I could not be in a better place than with you this morning. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Thank you.